AITA for refusing to pick my husband up from the hospital, which led him to walk 2 miles home. My 34F husband, 37M, has type 1 diabetes. He has a history of managing it very poorly. I have found him almost dead over a dozen times, and the ambulance has to be called. He is usually conscious, but a few times he's been so low, in the 20s, that he is basically in a coma. He's very lucky, actually, that I do find him, either waking up in the middle of the night or coming home in time. It's absolutely terrifying, and I am worried every day I'm going to just find him dead one day. He never acknowledges how this feels for me, just says, "It's what happens when you have diabetes." He also has a history of being extremely aggressive when he is low. Sometimes he is goofy, but other times he is just mean, spitting in my face, calling me a whore. I get it's his low sugar talking and not him, but it is still a lot to manage. He has had a pump in the past, which helps a lot, but when he doesn't use it right, or like now is broke and we are waiting for a new one come, he can't monitor his sugar as well. That said, he also doesn't eat well or monitor it like he should. We had an argument the other night, and I asked that he sleep on the couch so we could be separate. I hate doing that because if he goes low and he's not next to me, I won't know. I beg him to make sure he ate something substantial before he fell asleep, so his sugar wouldn't drop overnight. Now I am 8 months pregnant, and thankfully in this case wake up a lot to pee. I woke up at 4 a.m. and peed and decided to check on him. His sugar was incredibly low. He gets sweaty all over, and when I woke him up, he's starting screaming at me to kill yourself, bitch. I called the ambulance. He was super aggressive with them too, and it took 7 men. He's a big guy, 280 pounds, to hold him down and get 4 in him. He kept ripping it out. They finally got his sugar up enough to where he was coherent, but they wanted to take him to the ER to be sure his sugar stayed stable. I refused to go with. I just feel like I reached my breaking point. I've been through this so many times, and being pregnant, I just couldn't deal with it. So I went back to bed knowing he would be okay. He called me at 6:30 a.m. to say he needed a ride home. I said no and hung up. He came home 2 hours later, saying he had to walk home in his sock feet. He could have taken an Uber. We didn't have much money, but he could have called his parents to have them book him one. He could have called his brother or friend for a ride. Now he is blaming me for making him walk home, and his parents have said, "You don't do something like that to someone you love." I don't feel like I made him do anything. I didn't tell him to walk home. I didn't think he would because that is insane. I'm so stressed out by this, which isn't good for me being pregnant, but I just feel like I can't say sorry like it was my fault. So AITA? Comment by Elegant Emergency 99 says, NTA, honestly, this doesn't sound like a safe relationship you're about to give birth, and your partner isn't able or willing to care for themselves if possible, especially with him getting aggressive. You need to get out, either stay with family or a close friend, and use his history to get full custody. Tell him he's not allowed to see the baby until he's proven he's no longer a threat to himself and others and willing to properly take care of himself, because at the moment he's not safe to be around for you or your child. Comment by Beth21286 says, you don't do something like that to someone you love. Well, you don't tell the wife you love who is 8 months pregnant with your child to kill herself, but husband has no problem with it. So neither should OP. It doesn't matter if he's low when he says those things. He is low because he chooses to be. So he also chooses to say those things. He needs to wake the freak up before OP decides to save her kid from him and leaves. Then no one will be calling an ambulance for him at all. AITA for not wanting to be my ex's caretaker. I'm making this post to show my ex later, because I don't feel like I'm in the wrong here, but I'm close to the situation, and I'm always open to new opinions. My ex up and abandoned our family several years back to live his truth. Not saying what his truth is, past that involved a lot of random unprotected sex. That was way more important to him than our 3 children. He did not pay child support. He didn't even acknowledge the children most of the time. He worked under the table and did a /CB to make sure that he didn't have to support the children that he helped create. Needless to say, our 2 eldest hate him, and our youngest doesn't even remember him. He reached out to me recently to tell me that the karma train had run him over. He has acquired a terminal STI from his time as the community chew toy. He showed me proof of his diagnosis. Now he wants to come home, spend what time he has left with the children, and he wants me to be there when he passes on. Now isn't the time for I told you so's. I think that he's being ridiculous. With new medication, you can live a long time with that diagnosis. Besides, why should it fall on the children and I to sweep up another mess that he made? He thinks that the children will regret not getting to spend time with him while there's time to be had. So AITA? Comment by OddWelcome7940 says, "Forget I told you so. Your number one concern is 3 children. 3 children he abandoned for a free-spirited life. A life of promiscuous endeavors. Since I can't put it more pointedly. So now what does he have to offer? Nothing but pain and need? That isn't a positive for your children's life. Maybe a great life lesson? Wait, the lesson would be that if you screw over your kids, you can use them to die with dignity, without ever owing the full price? No need for I told you so. How about I am telling you that you have nothing left to offer us except a Social Security check once you pass? So the best thing I can do for our kids is let that happen sooner than later, and as far from them as possible. Bye." NTA. Comment by DarkestStar167 says, "He has HIV, which means the sex/drug community no longer wants him. You're the only option he has left for free rent. HIV isn't a death sentence anymore. He's full of crap. He doesn't care about the kids, or he wouldn't have abandoned them and gone out his way not to pay child support. He just wants to sponge off of you for as long as he can and manipulate you throughout all of it. Get rid of him. And don't put your kids through that. The kids got used to life without him. Reintroducing him into their lives at this point as a sick man who no doubt will guilt trip and manipulate them, as well as the worst thing you can do. Tell him that family doesn't wait for the people that are supposed to love them to want them again. They move on.